Did you ever become a car salesman before? Were you ever a car salesman before?
Yes and no. I never joined a car company as a salesman. Because the first time I joined a car company, I was in charge of the racing team.
And that brings us to the most exciting phase of YS's life.
And how did I?
Yeah, how do you become how do you go into rallying?
Okay,
I assume you still held your full-time job in the
heavy equipment company,
right?
I was a salesman selling tractors.
Yeah.
And one day, one friend of mine has since passed away. His name is Vincent. He said, "YS, I want to go to Batu Tiga." Because I was at the time selling tractors for a company, one of the British companies, Warns. And he was in the automotive arm selling cars. He was selling Opel.
Actually, so at that time, how old were you? Were you?
That would be 22.
22, and you had zero racing experience before.
Zero.
Okay.
But I always was a fast driver.
Yeah.
I used to think I was fast.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks they're fast.
He is. Okay, he is.
So
and the argument he is.
So no, you must hear this. He brought me to the racetrack, and I saw a few guys driving. It was one of the club events,
Yeah.
And I look at them looking at Rodman's Corner, where after that they called it the Lucky Strike. It was double left and right. And I look at them and I say, they are so slow.
Yeah.
I can drive faster.
Yeah.
So a few months later, there was the race, the series production race, and it just so happened another friend, his colleague, was racing. Yeah. And he was driving an Opel Manta. And the other one was a Holden Torano. Torana. The 2.6 liter.
Yeah.
So sorry, his Opel was the rally car. And the Holden Torana was his race car.
Yeah.
And his name is Ronnie Chin. He now resides in New Zealand.
Okay.
So I asked him about it, and I asked, can my Datsun 1200 run? Sure.
Yeah.
It's a production car, so you mean I can just go there and enter? That was like 2 days before the race.
It's basically like GRA today, right? Where you just bring whatever your daily car in and...
No, the rules for series production are very clear.
Yeah.
The car must be stock standard, no modifications.
Yeah.
Shock absorbers are free.
Yeah.
Tires are free.
Okay.
But up to a certain spec now.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so I managed to get my comm license and everything, and went to the track on Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
By the time I got there, official practice was over. There were like 30 cars on the grid.
Yeah.
And I had to start last.
Yeah. So you started your first race last
position
with zero practice.
No, but the clerk of the course at the time was Trevor Butcher. A very nice European man.
Yeah.
And I said, Mr. Butcher, I haven't been on the track before, so official practice is over. It was about 5 o'clock. So can I go around the track at least for a few laps? Sure. So he let me in to the track. Special permission. I have to carry 3 stripes,
Yeah.
Novices have to carry 3 stripes so that the other drivers know that this one is a newbie, stay away from him.
Okay.
And then we are supposed to give way to other traffic and all that.
Yeah.
So I went in, the first corner is pit corner. So my only experience of the track was watching from Rodman's, and also one bit in Milo Hill.
Yeah.
And the first corner was a left-hander. I went in really hot.
Yeah.
Took the corner. Oh my god! I never knew the corners were so sharp.
Oh. Okay. And that's why they look slow to you, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I knew why they look slow, because they were really sharp, and so it went on.
Yeah.
And I went for 2 laps and I came back, and that was it.
Yeah.
Next day was the race.
Yeah.
So I started dead last.
Yeah.
There were 2 cars in my category.
Yeah.
Oh, I shouldn't have said that. I was second in my category, 1.3. But there were only 2 cars.
Okay. Okay.
The other guy was a very experienced driver, Ronnie Lung, who has since passed away.
Yeah.
And then there were 3 minis, 1000cc. So they are below my category.
Okay.
I started behind them, but of course I could take them. I also came to lap them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there were 1600s and there were 2 liters. you know.
And you were driving a 1.2.
1.2
Okay.
Datsun.
Okay.
And of course the 1600s and the 2 liters could lap me because we had a 40 lap race, you know.
Yeah.
And I was spotted by one of them,
Yeah.
none other than Eric Wee, who was a very famous driver at that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at the dinner, at the end of the race, we were sitting at the same table because I was like because I'm a Datsun, I sat with the Tanchong people lah. And Lee Kuai Leong was there.
Yeah.
I knew Lee Kuai Leong a little bit because I met him in the workshop and all that.
Yeah.
Then Eric, we said, you know, there's this young man in the Datsun 1200. He was pretty quick, you know.
Yeah.
Because he passed me on the straight.
Yeah.
Then we went into the snakes. And I stayed with him all the way for quite a while until the next straight where he could pull away slightly.
Yeah.
And just for the record, I clocked the fastest time anybody had ever clocked in a car like that.
Okay.
In my first race.
Nice.
So
nice.
we became friends, and then later I found out he worked in Dunlop, and he used to go and see him every once in a while. You know, a salesman had a lot of free time.
Yeah.
And he taught me a lot about driving and lines and most important thing he taught me was how to overtake another car when you have the same power.
So would you consider him as your sifu?
Yes. He's still alive.
Yeah.
And he's the father of Roland Wee.
Okay. Roland Wee is a friend of ours from the industry for you guys.
So anyway, that was my first race, and then we moved on from there.
Yeah.
And then of course I realized that in order to win in series production, you need to have one of the fastest cars.
Yeah.
Because the Datsun 1200 wasn't going to make it. You can win the class.
Yeah.
But nobody knows you.
Exactly.
So you must win overall. So I went and bought it was either Alfa Berlina or a Mazda Rotary Capella.
Okay.
The Rotary Capella was cheaper, so I bought one for 3,000 ringgit in 1976.
Hefty money those days.
Yeah, but 3,000 ringgit was okay.
Yeah.
I was a salesman, I had commission.
You reached that time, right?
Yeah. Compared to others, because I was very hardworking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. This one, I have no doubt.
I remember one Friday before the race, my car, my Datsun 1200 was all decked up with stickers and ready for the race. Then my customer calls me from Termolo. There's a Malay guy, I can't remember. He said, Kong, can you come over tonight? I'm going to sign the order and pay you a deposit for a tractor. So, in full race colours, I drove to Termolo and signed the order and came back. And next day I went for the race.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
So, well, that means how hardworking I am. I would say, oh, I'm sorry, I got a race tomorrow.
Well, you're still a very hardworking man today. I imagine you would. This was always the case right from the start.
Yeah, I suppose so lah.
So you had many. So your racing career started off in Batu Tiga.
Yes.
Series production racing.
Yes.
All right. But how did you go into rallying? How did the switch to rallying happen?
Oh, I had another friend who had a car, same like mine. He went with me to Batu Tiga, and of course he rolled it in Robin's corner. Whoops.
Whoops.
And then after that, the car was like a bit second hand, Then we decided to go rallying. So he became co-driver and I drove. So in my first rally, careful. My first rally, it started from PJ Civic Center at about 6 o'clock in the evening. And then around 10 o'clock, we had the midway break somewhere in Dengkil. And then
PJ to Dengkil.
By a circuitous way. And by 9 o'clock that night before the midway stop, we were lost.
As in, like you went.
We were totally lost.
Okay.
We had no idea where we were, and just driving around trying to find a way. And then we found our way a little bit. Then we got lost again. Find our way a little bit. Then got lost again.
But you told me that last time during your days.
It was Mickey Mouse.
What do you mean Mickey Mouse?
Navigational type rally, not special stage.
Yeah, but okay. But you see, right? You guys did rallying at night through what?
Yeah.
Palm oil plantations, rubber plantations,
Yes.
all those, right?
Yeah.
Would have been scary to drive at breakneck for me, lah. At least, you know, nowadays, even at like night, right? Even on the clear highway, I don't even dare to drive very fast. You know, so for you to tell me that you guys rallied at night through all those rubber trees, through all those palm oil plantations and all that, to me, that is serious skill, serious ability to perceive your surroundings in limited lighting conditions.
Okay, here's the dampener. In navigational rallies, they set an average speed of maybe about 30 or 40 miles per hour. About 60 or 70 kilometers per hour.
Yeah.
You just have to get from one point to the other point on time.
Okay.
And
it doesn't matter the direction you take.
The owners of following the route rest on the competitor, and in order to make sure you're on the route at strategic points, they have these things called route checks. Usually signboards with letters and planted there, and they will tell you route check on the tulip. And when you get there, you're supposed to copy down what it is. They have, that's called an unmanned route check.
Right.
So that's to show proof of passage. Then some there are manned route checks where they have actually a man there. You don't have to stop, but they'll note down your car number as you pass. So it was navigational, and the idea is not to break down, don't crash, be reasonably fast and get there on time.
But you see that those days, right? I mean, even today also in rallying, and back in your time, the communications equipment are not so sophisticated. You are racing at night, your car is bumping about.
Driver and co-driver have intercom if you can afford it. If you can't, then you shout lah.
Yeah, and your co-driver will have to be reading the tulips or your pace notes.
Yeah, we have map lights. No pace notes in those days.
Yeah, so it's damn amazing, you know, that bond between driver and co-driver must be something that's really special, isn't it? Yes,
language is very important.
Yeah.
Remembering, I give the same type of briefings for treasure hunts because we use the same type of tulips. Remember that the language between the two of you must be very clear.
Yeah.
That's why when somebody tells me, hey, you go to the T junction, I say, where go T junction? Oh, like that, that's called a check left.
Okay.
A T is where you go, there's no escape road.
Okay, this is something.
Junction right, junction left is an offshoot of the road that you are in.
Okay, I don't know whether you remember this before, but you have corrected me on that.
When you say T junction, it must be a T. No escape road.
Means that you must be approaching the left or the right. If you are approaching this way, it's a left turn or a right turn.
Or check left. If we don't want the guy to turn, we call it check left. So I know that there's a junction there. I remember this guy. There's a junction on the left. Take the right. At the last minute, he says take the right.
Oh, okay.
No, there's a fork on the left. Take the right. So at the last minute, I went into the tree.
Oh God.
So I was we were fighting to be driver, both of us. So we agreed to do half and half. So when I navigated, it was okay.
Yeah.
When he navigated, I wasn't okay.
But the thing is that, right? You know, because I used to follow rallying a lot when I was younger, and you know, and as I got to understand the sport a bit more, I realized that a lot of time the drivers get a lot of the credit, but I think the navigators also play a very important role, isn't it?
Yeah, but as usual, the glamour goes to the driver lah. And that's why I became a driver. But I've been a co-driver before. And I know it's very important. The co-driver must be able to tell the driver what's coming. So there was one thing we did with tulips that nobody else did. In the old days, it'd be like, okay, check right. And then pass the check right. Or 100 meters, turn right. By which time, if you are going fast, it's too late. So it's always, I was the one who taught my co-driver to say, check right 100.
Check right 100 would mean
the distance after. That means the driver has 100 meters to go before the next.
So it's a check right, And then 100 meters later is the next tulip.
Next tulip.
Okay. But actually, if you don't have intercom, can you really hear your co-driver over all the sounds of your engine and the bumping? Because you would have stripped out all the sound deadening.
Yeah, but you're sitting next to me, ma. But of course, if you want to be really successful, you have to buy the Sonic intercom, which costs about 100 ringgit those days. Very expensive in those days.
Has anybody won the Malaysian Rally more occasions than you, Karamjit?
A rally or rally championship?
Rally championship.
I think Karamjit has won it more because he stayed on, and he's a very talented driver.
He is.
And then he had a good car.
You raced with him before?
Never in the same race. Because when I retired, he started. And when he started, while I was still there. And I remember one rally near Sramban, and I heard this car on the ball. You can hear the engine sound. He goes, you know, he's on a close ratio box, and his engine is on the ball all the time. Because my car had broken down. So I was a spectator for that one, and I said, wow, that's a fast driver. Then later, it turned out it was one of our old rally cars that we sold. And later I asked, who is driving the car? Oh, that's Karamjit Singh. So I went up to him and said, hey Karam, you're doing very well. You'll be a champion one day. Keep at it. And of course, he remembers.
Yes.
And,
but is there anyone else who have won more than you besides Karamjit?
I don't think so.
You don't think so, huh?
Yeah.
And guys, for the record, right, I'm in this line of work. I've been fortunate to meet people like YS. I've also been fortunate to meet Karamjit as well, although I'm not as close friends with him. I do remember one occasion where Karamjit and him met face to face, and this is credit to both you and Karamjit's character. Karamjit, I distinctly recall Karamjit addressing you with the kind of respect that any man with proper manners would address his
what did he say? I can't remember.
No, it's not so much what he said specifically, but his demeanor. Because he was carrying a very respectful demeanor towards you. It's like he's someone that, you know, when it's like somebody with good manners, they meet an old timer, they meet someone who has mentored them with that kind of respect.
We are good friends. We don't keep in touch that much, but I would say I have high regard for him. And I'd like to believe that he has high regard.
That's the impression that I got when I saw him, face to face with you, lah. So I mean, okay. One thing I do want to ask is, motorsports. Your involvement with motorsports. How do you think it has affected you the rest of your life? You have left the motorsports scene long ago, but how do you think your involvement in motorsports affected the rest of your life moving forward?
Well, it was easy for me to get into the journalist field. I had an understanding of mechanicals and like last weekend I went up to Batu Kawan. And we watched the Gazoo racing.
Yes.
And then the best place to watch the Gazoo racing was in the media room in front of the screen. Because they have multiple cameras.
Yes.
So you could actually see how the race progressed. You know, you were staying with the leaders and whatever they show. And so I was giving my own commentary. So the video will come out soon.
Look forward to that, guys.
So I had my own commentary because I understood racing. I could understand what's going on in the minds and the hearts of the drivers as they are fighting for grip and fighting to stay ahead of the other guy. You know, in Gazoo racing, the cars are all the same.
Correct.
And so, like, half a second is as an eternity. So you know, and I can tell you what it's like when you are leading by half a second and the guy is on your tail all the time, and every corner he is there and you cannot afford to make a mistake. I tell you, we wishing the race was over. And then the guy who's chasing behind the 3 laps to the end, he's wishing the race has another 5 laps. You know, then he's worried if I go too fast I'll overcook it, you know, things like that lah. And then if he I'm pushing him for him to make a mistake. But if he makes a mistake, I must be able to back off.
You must have that escape route.
Yeah,
right?
You push the guy, then he makes a mistake.
Yeah.
And let's say he goes into the wall, he's going to bounce right out.
Correct.
And you're going to be there.
Correct.
So you have to be careful about that.
Yes.
But if you're too careful, you end up too slow.
Yes.
So can you imagine the mental anguish and the and the adrenaline that's flowing?
Yes.
So as a racing driver, I can comment it.
Yes. But for you coming from the perspective of a rally driver, it's slightly different, isn't it? Because you don't have bumper to bumper action in rallying.
Rally driving, you're on your own.
Yeah.
But sometimes you get bumper to bumper lah. In my early days, I chased a guy for like 15 kilometers on the stage in the middle of the night, flying flat out. Because he wouldn't let me go.
He must be quite slow lah, right?
He was in a faster car than I was, but technically more powerful. But
because in rallying they flag you guys off with
1 or 2 minute intervals.
Yeah.
So but there are times when you get in trouble, or like once I had a flat tire and ran on it, trying to get to the end. Then the tire shredded. The rim broke. Got stuck in the suspension. I stopped to change the tire, and then my teammate passed me. And I caught him and passed him in the same stage.
Not bad.
That's the same guy who held me back in the early days of my rallying. I tell him, I gave him a big lecture. Even though I was a beginner at the time, I told him he should have let me pass. But anyway, in rallying, you have to drive with some reserve. You got to preserve the car. You know, we had fast drivers in our team, but they don't win as much because if they finish, they win. But in order to finish first, you must first finish. So you have to preserve the car over the rough.
A great bit of wisdom from that you have. I think you have expressed this saying to me before, but I think it still holds true. It's something that still holds true. So that's your rallying career, your racing career. As I said earlier, right, I've known YS for more than 10 years, and how we crossed paths was Autoworld.